Hi, I'm Kay. I'm a weight loss coach and personal trainer, and today I'm going to show you how to lose 7 pounds in 7 days. Well, I'm not really. I'm sorry that the title is a little bit misleading, but I just want to show you how people get sucked into these adverts that they see on the internet, and what actually happens to you when you go on a fad diet and why you really shouldn't do this. I know that when you've been trying to lose weight for months or weeks or whatever, and then you've suddenly got a holiday coming, or you're going to a wedding, or you've got some events that you really wanted to look good for, and you hadn't lost any weight. So you go in a bit of a panic and you think, right, what can I do to lose weight really quickly? So, you look up on the internet, or you might have a diet that you've done before, and then you go on some kind of cleanse or some kind of detox, or, some really faddy diet, hoping that, you're going to lose lots of weight in a really short amount of time. I just want to explain to you really what happens when you go on one of these fad diets, and, to show you why it's really not worth it. But I will show you at the end of the video what you can do in 7 days, to make yourself feel and look better, but without any of the fad diets and without the effects that that is going to have on your body. So what happens when you go on a fad diet? Now, for me, a fad diet is anything where you replace meals with shakes, or you don't even eat, or, you have just soup, or, anything like that. You're meant to do that for a really short amount of time. And they promised, that they could lose, up to 7 to 10 or stone or whatever in as little as a week. So let me explain to you what happens when you go on one of these diets. If you follow these diets religiously, you probably can lose a significant amount of weight in quite a short amount of time. What the diet companies don't explain to you is that this weight is probably going to be mostly water, some muscle, and maybe a little bit of fat. So at the end of the week, you might have lost 7 pounds, but the chances are you're probably not going to look that different. And I'm guessing that that is really what you want. You actually want to look thinner, you want to look better. But because most of what you've lost isn't going to be fat, you're really not actually going to look that different at all. But let me explain to you what happens when your body actually goes into this state. So your body needs a certain amount of energy every day just to maintain itself. So if you were to lie in bed all day and do nothing, your body will still be burning a significant amount of calories or energy during the day. The reason that your body needs so much energy is so that your heart can keep beating, so that you make sure that you're breathing all the time, make sure your brain is working all the time, etc, etc. Because the number one priority for your body is to keep you alive at all costs. Now the problem with most of these fad diets is that you end up eating less than what your body actually needs just to sustain itself. Now, as I said to you earlier, I'm talking about if you laid in bed all day, this is how many calories that your body will be burning. Now, most of you don't do that. Most of you get up, you have to go to work, you have kids to look after, blah, blah, blah. So you're going to be burning a lot more than that anyway. So when you start eating less than what your body actually needs, your body will start prioritizing what's most important. So as I said, the number one priority for your body is to keep you alive at all costs. So it would prioritise what is the most important thing and basically get rid of the stuff that isn't necessary. So as I said, your heart, clearly that needs to keep working, so that can't be touched. Your brain, that can't be touched. Your circulatory system, your lungs, your digestion, they can't really be touched because these are things that need to happen all the time. Now, what about your muscles on the external? So, you need muscles just to be able to move. So your muscles actually need quite a lot of calories just to maintain itself. So the more muscle you have, the higher your metabolism is going to be. Your body will look at muscle and think it's actually not that necessary, and it will start breaking down the muscle. Not so much obviously that you can't actually move anymore, but enough to help it preserve the energy source within itself because you're not feeding it enough. It might also look at things like your immune system and think, right, well, that can be lowered a little bit. Which is why, again, sometimes people are more susceptible to catching colds and things like that when they go on these diets. Now, what I want you to imagine when you're not eating enough is just think of a time at work where maybe a couple of your colleagues were on holiday and then a couple more happened to call in sick. So you guys are really seriously understaffed. And so you would have to sit there and think, right, what is the biggest priorities? And we're going to have to just focus on that, and they're going to be some things that are just going to have to be either left to tomorrow, or maybe just totally ignored, and they just will never get looked at. And this is basically what's happening with your body. You know, when you go on a severely calorie restricted diet, which is what most fad diets are. So, you know, it still works, it still goes on, but it's really not at optimum capacity at all. So you're probably really tired, you probably feel really grumpy. You're probably going to start showing this stuff in your skin. So, you know, you might get spotty, your skin might start getting dry, might start getting really dull, because you're just not taking enough. Number one in the energy, but also number two in terms of the nutrients that your body needs as well. And as I said, you're not going to lose a significant amount of fat in this period either. You're going to lose weight, but as I said, a lot of this stuff is going to be water, some muscle and a little bit of fat. So you aren't even going to look that different at the end of it. So really ask yourself, what is the point of doing this? You know, I'm guessing it's not really about the weight. You actually want to look better. You know, you want your clothes to feel better. You want to look better in a bikini, etc., etc. So really think about what you're doing. Now, because your body has prioritised all these things and actually got rid of some of the functions or lowered some of the functions within itself, when you finish the diet, your metabolism would have gone from here to here. So when you start eating normally again, you're already eating too much and way more than what your body needs because it has adjusted itself. So this is why a lot of people end up putting that weight back on very quickly and sometimes even more weight than, you know, and become heavier than they were when they started the diet. But I'm not saying that there's nothing that you can do in the 7 days or so leading up to a holiday or whatever, but there are things that you can do that can actually make a difference to how you look, but also how you feel, and, you know, keep your energy up. I want you to feel good by the end of it, but you should feel, you know, a little bit tighter and you should feel a bit more confident about, you know, going on the beach or, you know, getting into some clothes or whatever that you want to do. So here are my tips for what to do in a 7 days leading up to an event. Okay, so number one, drink more water. Okay, most people don't drink the recommended 2 litres of water a day. You know, you really need to do that to help your body, you know, so the metabolism to keep up, to flush out toxins, etc. It doesn't have to just be plain water. You know, you can put things like lemon in, things like herbs like mint. You can also make herbal teas, fruit teas, you know, that kind of thing as well. And that would all help to count towards your water intake. Number two, really cut down or cut out the sugar and really fast releasing simple carbohydrates. So I'm talking about, you know, sugar, so obviously sugary drinks, chocolate, cakes, things like that, but also anything that's got white flour, you know, white bread, white pasta, white rice, you know, really cut back on those as much as possible, because any excess energy from those foods is going to get stored with water in your body. So, you know, really avoid those foods and that will stop that water retention from happening. Number three, also cut down on your salt, because this also promotes water retention in your body, which can make you a little bit puffy, etc. So if you cut back on your salt as much as possible, that will help to, you know, obviously eliminate that happening inside you. Number four, do some exercise. So, you know, what I would recommend is doing something like high intensity interval workouts. You know, which means that it doesn't take very long, but you get your heart rate up to a really high level, you have breaks, get your heart rate up again and have more breaks. So this could be things like sprinting, but you can also use body weight exercises, you can also use, you know, weights, you can use things like jumping squats, jumping lunges, you know, all that kind of stuff. But as I said, you know, do a workout that gets your heart rate really high, have a rest and keep doing that. And you only need to spend maybe 20 minutes a day, you know, doing that kind of exercise. And tip number 5 is I want you to sleep more. Now this sounds really strange because you think, I want to lose weight. But when you're sleeping, you know, it gives your body a chance to repair, to rest, you know, and basically it really actually levels out your hunger hormones so that during the week you're going to be a lot less hungry and there's going to be a lot less cravings that you're going to be contending with. As I said to you, you need to cut down your sugar and your salt, and you know, this is really going to help with that. Number 6, I want you to eat lots of vegetables because this is going to help you to fill you up. They're going to be full of fibre, it's going to be full of water and full of vitamins and minerals, which is going to help with the fat burning process. And number 7, I want you to include some kind of relaxation into your week. Now this might be that you go and have a bath every night before you go to bed. It might be that you just literally sit down, close your eyes for 5 minutes and just breathe deeply. Stress also really affects your hunger hormones. It also really makes you crave things like sugar, and it really promotes fat storing around your belly, which I'm guessing is where you don't want the fat to go. So, you know, I want you to do all of these things, and you are going to feel good. You are going to look a little bit tighter by the end of the week, but it's your skin's going to be glowing. You're actually going to be full of energy, and you're going to feel amazing just before your holiday or your event, or you know, whatever that you've got planned. So I hope these tips were helpful, and I will see you soon. Bye.